All right, welcome to spoiler talk for Disappearance at Devil's Rock. Fucking Arnold. Do we want to talk about Arnold, right?
Arnold, man. I didn't know how to peg Arnold because his character just revealed so well.
Yeah. A brilliant thing that Paul did, and it's a shame that we can't talk about this on the regular episode, and I think maybe I can incorporate this into my wrap-up over there a little bit. There's that whole part in the book where we meet Arnold. And I don't know about you, but I really started to wonder about the stories, right? So we're in spoiler talk. So the kids go, oh my God, Arnold made us beat up and kill his uncle, basically, right?
More or less, yeah.
And then Arnold comes across as maybe a little mentally challenged, and he's talking about how the kids totally took advantage of him and how he was afraid of them. And I don't know about you, but I was like, oh, here's the fucking twist in the book, because it's, Arnold is really kind of this real simple guy, and these kids are fucking monsters. And if you know teenage kids, they're fucking monsters. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, and the brilliant stroke of that is, like, the work wasn't all necessarily done through the Arnold character. The setup for this, the setup for the kids being unreliable has been the entire story. They're lying about everything. So, the only kid in the equation that didn't necessarily lie to us was the one that was missing. So we didn't have...
Yeah, the dead kid told no lies.
Right. So that was the only thing for me that kept it more real, that Arnold was not to be trusted, was that that's what Tommy said, and we never got to have him lie to us, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so what do you think happened? I mean, let's really talk about this, right?
So, yeah.
That scene, man, where Tommy runs out of the woods, and then Tommy runs out of the woods after himself. That's some fucked up shit right there.
All right, and that's fucking masterful. So, and even that was set up great. So we're talking about Tommy, and even Josh corroborates that at some point he's running into the woods to confront Arnold, and he's got a knife. He screams and moans and all this stuff happens, and then Josh sees Tommy run, like all shadowy in the night, run out of the forest, and then right after that Tommy comes out of the forest and he's like, did you see that? What did you see? And Josh says, that was you, and Tommy's like, you saw it too. So it was this crazy thing. If you're listening to this, you read it. But this was set up so well with when the grandmother sends the article to Elizabeth about felt presences.
Yep.
And there's that whole chapter about felt presences and the creepy stories about how, like, someone's walking down the street and they see the doppelganger of their wife carrying a baby, and it was at that time that the wife was, still birthing their child or whatever. And you don't think about any of it because it's just like the coping mechanism of the mother to try and understand or give meaning to what's going on. But then it fucking comes up in reality in that story, and it's like, man, that was so good. So my belief is it was literally in the house, Elizabeth saw the doppelganger, and that's how she knew that Tommy was dead. And in the forest, Tommy saw his doppelganger, and that's how he knew what was going to happen to him.
It's pretty much the way I took it too. I think that the great part about that is how the other kid didn't see anything. So it's really still left up to you to decide.
Yep.
Because there's not two, corroborating stories.
Right, because Arnold never saw it in the forest that night, and Lewis never saw it in the forest that night.
Yeah. So it's masterful stuff, and sadly, not something we can talk about how great it is unless we're really clever in our wrap-ups.
But you got it dead on, and that's another thing that Paul does so well, is like he lays out just the perfect amount of evidence to like, give you the opportunity later to be like, wait a minute, okay, this makes sense. And he does it in a way that isn't pushy or obvious. It just fits. And this was definitely something that just fit.
And then that son of a bitch at the end with the note. the pages that she goes in and picks up, and she's like, I'm going to read this another time. And we're like, fuck you, Elizabeth.
Well, okay, and even before that, the last 4 pages that really are the damning evidence that that kind of reveal what actually happened, the diary part about killing the uncle. How did those get there?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
well, because there's that weird part where they're both not in the room and they hear something fall.
Yep, it was not Kate and it was not Elizabeth.
Yep.
So, but that was the same night that Arnold broke into the house to try and find the coin.
That's true.
So, but why would Arnold leave evidence of his own guilt in something that would inevitably be his downfall? So just enough uncertainty where it could go either way. It's my belief that because the doppelganger was a reality in the way that I interpreted the story, the doppelganger also made the pages appear.
Yeah, and or maybe even wrote them. Who knows? Who knows, Rob? We're never going to find out.
It's crazy, dude. Crazy dude. Another thing that got me uncertain, and this was so weirdly out of place in the book, was there was at one point this very short section where it was someone reflecting on how they were living in the borderlands now that Tommy was missing. They were like, just very kind of almost like it was like an internal monologue thing, thinking about how it's nice to just be out in the borderland and not be back home or whatever. And I originally read that as Tommy. Like, I was fully convinced that Tommy was just hanging out in the woods until whatever he needed to do was done, until we find out that Tommy had died. And then I realized, oh, that was Arnold. We were seeing what Arnold was doing. But it was so vague and unclear that it planted again that uncertainty of what was going on with Tommy. Like, it very well could be that he was just living out in the woods.
See, now I'm wondering if you and I have different editions, because I knew that was Arnold the whole time. And I wonder where this may come out with. I had the uncorrected proof, and then you had, like, the weird, like, they printed off their printer and bound it.
Yeah, well, like which
I'm
one?
wondering if that was a change that was made, because I remember knowing it was Arnold when I was reading it.
So there's 2 possibilities here. We have 2 different editions, or I was not paying close enough attention to what was going on in the chapter, but you were.
Either way, though, your way is pretty cool if you're not sure who it is until you know.
Yeah, it was just off enough where I was like, I don't know the identity of the person that I'm seeing right now, but that lulled me into this sense of, okay, Tommy's okay, he's out in the forest. So when that reveal happened at the end that he had been dead the whole time, basically, fuck, man, that really twisted me around.
Right. Hey, if you're a Patreon subscriber, thanks for listening to Spoiler Talk. You probably listened to this after you heard our wrap-up, so I don't know. Thanks for listening, I guess. Thanks for subscribing.
Yeah, thanks for your money.